Alright guys, moving under fire here, back with another video, and this one is titled Stick It to the Stock Market. And well, what do I mean by that? As you well know by now, everybody's getting all worried about the stock market, and it should close to about 650 today, and some people are breathing a sigh of relief, but I want to bring it to your attention that this is all part of President Trump's plan. So what do I mean by that? Well, President Trump is actually trying to crash the stock market, believe it or not, by about 20%. When that happens, it's going to cause a flight into treasuries, okay? So when a flight into treasuries happens, basically the Federal Reserve is going to slash those interest rates. It's going to cut it down, well, hopefully to about 0%. And when that happens, it's going to cause a deflationary spiral. Just everything's going to keep going down and down, and that's really going to greatly lower the cost of your goods and services out there. The cost of everything's going to be cheaper. So everybody might be getting into a tizzy right now, thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Be patient. He's got 4 years, okay? He's just getting started. Now, not only is the cost of goods and services going to be greatly lowered, you're also finding that they're coming up with finding massive corruption and fraud through the DOGE, okay? So look at everything they found so far. I mean, they're finding stuff. They're having insurance plans for people who aren't even born yet. This is the kind of stupidity that we were forced to deal with under previous administrations. Trump is basically systematically destroying the government as we know it. I love it. Now, I will say, from what I heard, I think Elon Musk just fired the LEAP team, LIHEAP, and that is the government organization that's dedicated to paying heating and cooling bills from, I believe, well, all year really, heating and cooling, from September to October. I don't know why they put it that way. It must just be the fiscal calendar. But, and I know some people are really going nuts about that because your very low income people are actually dependent on that outside help and intervention to get their bills paid. I know we've had to rely on them once before, recently even, but I think it's overall a good thing if they're going to get rid of the government essentially as we know it. They don't want people living off the government, and it's not going to matter because what they're finding out in the corruption and the fraud with the DOGE, guys, we're getting a fat payday. It's all coming. I keep saying that. It is coming. I don't know exactly when. I don't know if it's coming in 2025 this year. I don't know if it's coming in 2026 like I had first reported. I believe it might be 2026, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. Things take time. You've got to be patient. I mean, he's got to undo all the foul that Joe Biden and Barack Obama did, in their terms. So, yeah, not all of this stuff happened during Trump's first term in 2016, but he was trying to drain the swamp back then, too. He did a lot. You guys might be short-lived, and you might be forgetting some of that, but he had to go up against a lot. So, look at the way they attacked him for all those years. It's because they don't want what's coming, but the American people do. So, I talked about how the flight into treasuries, the Federal Reserve is going to slash those interest rates down to zero. Interest on your debt, college loans probably, credit card debt, whatever debt can be on, basically. And the cost of everything's going to go up. So let's talk about what he's doing with the tariff game. Trump's game with tariffs, okay. One day he's got a 25% tariff on Mexico, the next it's on China, the next it's not 25%, it's something altogether different. He's playing a game. And basically by doing that, he is forcing these companies to basically build here. Come to the United States, build your products here, and that way you're not going to be shipping them out because you'll be having to pay tariffs on them, or other countries will. So when companies are coming here and saying, you know what, we don't want to play with this game, we're just going to make our stuff here in the United States of America. Well, also farmers are going to be doing the same thing. Why would a farmer want to sell their crops in Canada or Mexico or Haiti or wherever else they're going, Europe, if they're going to get taxed to high heaven? They wouldn't want to. So farmers, too, are going to be selling their food here at home domestically. That's really good. I mean, we're looking at 40 million acres at least of farmland that's going to be given to the younger generation here by 2030. I mean, that's not very many years from now. That's 5 years away. So in the changing of hands from the older farmers to the younger generation who are absorbing this farmland, it's not just Bill Gates, even though Bill Gates is now the most extensive landowner in the United States, sadly. But your younger generation is absorbing that farmland, and they're going to be making a really good profit off of selling their crops right here at home. And that's all thanks to what Trump is trying to do, okay? Now, if you guys have been paying attention, the House just passed legislation that is saying that the judges aren't going to be able to railroad and block him and tell Trump what he can and can't do. They're not going to be able to veto and override him. That just got passed. That's actually a really good thing. And if you're a Trump supporter, you should be really happy about that. So let's talk a little bit more about the stock market while we're on the topic here. I was in the stock market in 2008. As you guys remember, 2008 is when the recession hit. I'm 41 years old. I remember it well. I was doing software consulting with Kimball Electronics out in Jasper, Indiana at the time. And honestly, I'll be honest with you and forthright, I was eyeing the stock market a little bit too much. I knew in advance it was on the rocks and it was a great time to jump in. Just like right now. Right now is actually a great time to jump into the stock market because it's really low. With it closing around 650 today, if you guys have extra money, honestly, I'm not, professional in the stock market, but my general advice would be, hey, now's probably a good time to get in. It's always cyclical. The stock market's always going to rebound. Now, the only difference with what's going on right now is we are in unprecedented waters and times. This is stuff that we haven't seen even in my lifetime, where you've got a president that's really trying to take the hammer to the government and everything. And it's almost like, remember when Obama, his campaign motto, or I should say Barry Soetoro, because he lied about his name, nationality, he was born in Kenya, and he was also married to a man, Michael LaVaughn Robinson. It's all coming out. People are now starting to find this out. I've been saying it for years. Hate to say it, even though I've fallen off a little bit from Alex Jones, because I think Alex Jones, too, is lying about his name. I think he's really Bill Hicks off of the former CBS Evening News. But he's right on a lot of things that he was saying all these years. And he said that Barack Obama was married to a man. Don't want to get too far off topic, but if you remember Barack Obama's campaign motto, it was Build Back Better. I think that was the second time around. It might have been the first campaign. I can't remember. But Build Back Better, really, that's what Trump is doing right now. He is tearing it down, and he's going to rebuild it back better. I don't know why Obama said that, because what did he really rebuild? I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. But all he did was the Obamacare, and that turned out to be a disaster. I remember when I was filing my taxes, the question came up, do you want Obamacare for your health insurance? I vociferously said, no, I don't want it because I don't need it. Listen, guys, I'm with the United States Army as a reservist. I am working for one of the leading companies in the retail sector. I'm trying not to say the name, some of you guys know, and I don't have health insurance. I have two good opportunities to buy it. I don't have wood, but knock on wood, I'm still young. I consider myself young, but when most people get to the age of 41, they're already looking at retirement. They're like 20 years out of retirement, so to speak, even though they are raising that age now. I know my dad yesterday said, yeah, it's 62 right now, and they're looking to push it up to 65, and before long, it's going to be about 68. People are living longer. Well, post-pandemic, people are living longer because they're getting smarter. I'm not going to get into that whole topic right now, but yes, our retirement age is kind of increasing, I will say. So even though some people are looking at retirement as they approach their 40s and their 50s, I don't have anything in the stock market now. And my story on that, let me finish this real quick. I'll say it fast. I won't take up too much of your time, but in 2008, when the recession hit, I was all in on Citigroup. If you guys remember, Citigroup was the one stock that you didn't really want to get on because it was just way too risky. Everybody was talking bankruptcy. Well, it kept going down and down and down, and here I was a day trader. I wasn't into the slow gains. I wanted the gains now, but I didn't have much. I only put $700 on Citigroup. It was everything I had in the stock market at the time. Didn't have a lot of money. I was just starting in software consulting in 2007, going into 2008. got in at August of '07, and then the stock market crash, it happened in October of 2008. Okay. Actually, no, it was August of 2008. I was only in for a few months. Sorry. It's been a minute. But you didn't want to be on Citigroup. Everybody was talking bankruptcy. Well, it got all the way down. I remember it was down to 13 cents, and then it got down to 8 cents. And I said, that's it. That's my bottom line. I'm pulling out what I got. I took $150, and I limped home with just $150. I said, dang it, man. I gambled and I lost. Well, here's the thing about stock market. Companies almost never go bankrupt. Now, we know Obama bailed the banks out back then, and Citigroup was the very first one. So had I just known this, I pulled out the day before he bailed it out. I'm not lying to you. It was the day before. And had I been a psychic or a soothsayer or something like that, had I just known he was going to bail him out and stayed in, here's what would have happened with my $150, originally $700. In 2 weeks' time, that $150 remaining dollars in Citigroup, which was down to 8 cents, you can look it up. I remember, actually, it got down to 3 cents, but I pulled out at 8. If I had stayed in for 2 weeks, that $150 would have jumped up to $15,000. Had I stayed in for, and this is all hindsight, they say hindsight is 20/20, right? I would not have stayed in for 2+ months. I was a day trader. When it got up to about $15,000, I would have said, okay, this isn't going to last. I mean, who would have known that Citi would have kept growing for 2.5 to 4 months? Nobody would have known that. Or if you would, you'd have been really intelligent. You know, you'd have been genius level, or you'd have had insider knowledge. I didn't have any of that. So after the 2 weeks, when I would have had a $15,000 gain, at about 3 months, I would have had $44,000 approximately, off just $150 at 8 cents when I pulled out. Wow. Well, you know, the more you know, that's what they say. So it is what it is, and I learned my lesson. I had never gotten back in the stock market after that. I said I made my grievous error, and it is gambling at the end of the day, but a lot of people are getting worked up, and I have to remind you, learn from my experience. Companies very rarely, if ever, go bankrupt. And even if they do go bankrupt, I think you can still get a dividend payment, so you don't lose 100% of everything. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I was told back in 2008 by my software consultant who was over me. So don't panic. Long story short, when I say stick it to your stock market, right now actually is the time to get in. And don't despair, because the cost of goods are going to be lowered. Services are going to be lowered if Trump's plan goes through, and I think it will. And then also, we're getting a fat payday from the DOGE. Might be 2026, but that should be coming out in what we are calling dividend payments. For the people I have talked to in the know, it seems like they're going to ration it out, and the people who are older and the people who have worked longer and paid into taxes are going to get a little bit more than what your fresh-faced 18 to 25-year-olds are going to get. Makes sense. So good times are coming, guys. And also, I think debt is probably going to be refinanced down to about 0%. So if our debt, like my college loans, I have $37,000 still on college loans. If that debt is refinanced down to about 0%, and we're getting a fat payday, and the cost of everything is going to be lower, hey, you could sit here and say it's all hopium and it's not going to happen, or it could just be in the works. So be patient. He's got almost 4 years. It's coming. I'm saying it right now. I'm calling it. Even though I did misfire in the stock market in 2008, learn from my mistake. Don't panic. Don't just jump out, because now could be the time when you want to buy in when things are lower. If the stock market is closing around 650 points today, now's a pretty good time you might want to jump in. Now, what stocks are good? Well, as much as I hate to tell you this, anything BlackRock owned is probably going to succeed, except for the vaccine stuff. That stuff, whoo, I don't have a good feeling about that at all, and I'm saying thank God for that. You all know my fight on that one. I won't go down that rabbit hole. I don't want this video to get banned. I want you guys to get this information, because it could really help somebody out there. All right, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you agree, if you disagree, that's fine, you know, but none of us can do anything about it. So be patient, wait and see what happens. Trump and Musk have already come out and said, we're not touching your pensions, we're not touching your Social Security. So for all the liberals that have been screaming and cussing about that, rest assured, he's not coming after it, okay? So that's all I got for this video, guys. Godspeed. I'll catch you later tonight. Catch our video, Gretchen Fleming. It's a week late. It's going to be titled May the 4th Be With You, but it's going to be a good one. A lot of work's been put into it. It's going to be a non-prophetizing video. I'm using a song at the beginning of it, but it should be a really good video. Hope you guys learned something from this. Hope you learned something tonight. All right, tune in. Appreciate y'all. Godspeed.